Hello and welcome to Nuts About Design, the podcast from Pistachio about all things design related and other things that we just like to chat about because we love a good chat. Today we will be talking to Charlotte about AI being used within the industry.
Content creation.
Content creation.
Well,
Yes.
I'm a copywriter, so specifically in terms of my world and.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and as always, please remember to like, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube, and also there's a page on our website if you want to just listen to us. We're also on Spotify, and yes.
If you watch on YouTube, you'll be able to see my two friends, which I'm really thrilled about today.
I
so glad
know,
they're on
I
camera.
know.
But it's okay, at least I'm just like, have loads of really smart things to say, so it doesn't matter.
As I said, you need
Not
one of
true.
the star pimple patches.
I know, like the
stars
real
across,
podcasters have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I should have done that.
Go get down with the kids.
I know. I've actually got some finger plasters in my bag, so I just
Yeah.
stick one
Oh
on.
no, who was that he used to
Nelly.
have? Yeah,
It was because his mate was in prison.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just wore it until he got. I don't think he wears it anymore.
No.
But yeah,
There you go.
showing our
A bit
ages,
of an ages
collective
there, a
ages.
bit of a flash from the past, yeah. So, Charlotte, you are, as you mentioned, content creator amongst other
I'm a copywriter. That's
amongst
not spread to me
other
too thinly.
things.
What are these? Just funny.
Well, aren't you writing a book? Maybe?
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, I am also a writer.
Yes.
I am on. Well, I'm on my second draft.
Oh.
And it's a hot mess. But yeah, that's the aim. Thanks for bringing that up, Marie. Hopefully one day we can have a podcast to talk about that.
Absolutely. No, we should do.
We will.
Well, Charlotte also creates or helps with the lovely Stacey. We all work together to create all of the
amazing blogs that you'll find on pistachiodesign.com.
There are some really interesting ones.
There are some
on
funny
there, to be fair.
ones and some good. Yeah, I think you've got quite a good collection.
I also think it's a really good flashback for what's happened in the world, really.
Yeah,
During
really
the last-
documented.
Yeah.
Look, honestly, guys, you should go on the Ramblings page,
Yes.
Pistachio's website, because there is a real hodgepodge, is that the right
Yes.
expression?
Oh, yes.
Hodgepodge?
Yeah.
Of like popular culture, the rise and fall and rise again of Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
We've got some Game of Thrones kind of nods in there,
Absolutely.
as well as lots of interesting design and
of
marketing
course,
stuff.
Of course, all the seasonal.
Seasonal stuff,
Yes.
a lot of on well-being as well. I
Yes.
think we've covered. And you've done a lot. You've done a few about like managing, because obviously you've got your internal team and you've got freelancers like me and Emmy, etc., and managing like time and
Yes.
work, especially during
Yeah.
holidays and stuff,
Yeah.
which people might find very
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah, a little plug for the
Absolutely.
Pistachio
Plug
content.
for the Pistachio blog, because there are some doozies in there, and they also will give you a chuckle, I think.
Yes.
They give me a chuckle every month when I read.
There you go. And also, as a segue into the topic, human written with
Yes.
human a point of view and humour.
Yes.
You won't find the American
Does-
M dashes
Well,
in there,
don't,
Marie.
don't. We were discussing this earlier. In fact, I think Rich calls me the secret N-dash finder within, if people use hyphens rather than N-dashes in documents. But at the moment,
Yeah,
it's
but
just flooded with M-dashes
But it's
instead, which are huge and just look
how
ridiculous.
as well, like it shows is how you want. Not everything has to be, even as a writer and a copywriter, not everything has to be grammatically correct. And that's, pre-AI era.
Yes.
That's how, language is developed across like different
And
verticals and different
evolved,
industries.
yeah.
And I write in a particular way, and I don't use M dashes like the Americans do. And whether that's grammatically correct or not, that's how I've written, and that's
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and that's how lots of as well English writers write.
Yes.
And I did see a meme the other day that made me laugh, and it was literally saying the same thing. It was like, I don't care if this is correct or not, this is how I write, and I'm
Yes.
going to continue to write like this.
Yeah, and I'd also think that the problem with AI is it's mixing the cultures. So I think some of it
Yeah, and it
is
doesn't know
trying
what
to
it's
get
doing.
in. it sees that you want to use UK English, but then it's throwing some Americanisms in there because it thinks that it should be. So I think there's a bit of a mishmash.
Yeah, and talking of hodgepodges,
hodgepodge.
This is obviously there's a lot. We're not going to sit here and be like, slag off AI because we're scared it's going to take our jobs, etc.
And we're not the grammar police either.
Absolutely not. I mean, you are a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not the grammar police. But AI is obviously good for lots of things, and if it can help speed up boring, mindless tasks,
maybe summarise.
That's great for humans, of course. But the point is, then it gives your brain. It should do. You then have that time to do the good stuff, to do the creative stuff, and that is what we are.
Add the human touch.
In fear of losing.
Yes.
Because it's you see a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, we can cut the fat off. We can just get the bots to generate all our content, but it's like it's saving you time, but is it adding value?
Yes.
Is it adding value to your content? Because all I see people do is just take the out of all the stuff that's just slop that's churned out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as much as I'm just going to go on a ramble now and then you can
no,
bring it back.
Keep going.
But I think it was 2023 when ChatGPT first exploded, and it did impact my industry and marketing as a whole. And then we've come back, the bubble's kind of burst, and we've come back round, and it's fine. And that's not to say it will last forever, but it's just interesting because I work a lot, and so do Pistachio as well, a lot in tech and B2B sales and marketing. I'm constantly writing about AI and selling in AI products, AI accelerators, AI-driven technology that's being sold into big enterprise. And I'm writing about all these fantastic things that can generate your content for you. But I'm being asked to write it.
Yes.
And that's because, like we were just saying, AI, it pulls all this stuff together, and it's very smart, it's very clever, it's good at organising all your information. But whereas something might on the page, and to someone who's not, a writer or not completely in tuned to the particular vertical industry, it looks okay at first glance, and it's grammatically correct in whatever guise that is, and it uses technically the right words. But it misses all the nuance that that particular vertical needs or that particular software needs. And it will use the wrong word that actually, then the big internal teams will lose their minds over and go, we can't say transformation, we can't say this, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And that then there's so much rework when if you just engaged your brain in the first place.
Yes, yeah.
You can, absolutely use it as a tool to speed this up, but it's not improving the value of the end content if you can't do it without AI. And I know this sounds a little bit elitist, but I do think it should be, the way to protect people's jobs and brains is to gatekeep it. So people that can use, if you have to be able to understand the content and be able to produce this outside of AI.
Yeah.
Same goes for design, before you just start using it to churn out stuff, because
I think there's
pointless.
There's a move away from valuing the human side of business and adding the value that it adds is not being appreciated a bit at the moment. It's a bit like, if AI can just knock it out, why can't you? Well, no, because I do it properly. No,
well,
exactly I spend the time to understand the subject before I do it, and then I add in the nuances and
I can spot the mistakes. I can do it quicker, but like I literally just said, if it speeds up that legwork, that admin work.
Yes.
But the value in that is then it gives the creatives more time to actually then add real value on top. And if people don't understand that, then they're the ones that are sending out slop anyway. Whatever. It's hard because then there's people that, it depends where you're coming from. I just want, the reason why I'm a copywriter that, works myself, supports agencies like you guys, is because I like the flexibility, and I like to be able to work with the people and on the stuff I want to work on.
Yes.
I don't want to grow exponentially.
Yes.
But I understand that people in my industry do, or want to use AI so that they can keep growing. That's not going to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that, because as long as I can pay my bills and write my book and chat to you guys and all of that, I'm happy. And I do understand that's place of privilege to be okay with that. I don't need a bigger house, or I don't want to have children, or all those things. I know I'm getting a bit like
no.
So I do understand when I say that, and that there'll be people that are really worried that want to be able to see their income go like this, and I don't know what that looks like with how AI is going.
Yes.
All we can do, and what we're doing, our creative teams, is like learning how to use it properly, making sure we're still adding loads of value, and working harder. And it might be for the same price, but everyone's wages are stagnant as they have been. No. So like it's just sometimes it's about survival, and you're going through this period rather than this. There's the grifters that are like.
The emphasis is put on so many different things. In sometimes in a client's industry, you're like, well, you don't give your product away. Why do you think?
Yeah.
Why is your product great? Well, your product great is because the humans that put that work in, or the stuff that you do, even if the humans built the AI in the first place, but then you want us to not charge you, or not to do, or not to take the time, or not to. There's like a value added thing.
Exactly, and that it's like, well, you've still asked me to do it.
Yes.
So if you're dismissing the value because you think a machine can do it,
yes,
baby cakes, you go and put it in the machine. Because like you still, to get the prompts really good and to train your AI, it takes a lot of skill and a lot of practice and a lot of time. That's the value. So if you can do that, cool. You obviously can't, because you're coming to ask someone to design something, or we're coming to ask someone to, and it can't think up original. It's all
more
generic anyway.
with the prompts. I'd rather just do it.
Oh, so much time is wasted with all that.
Yeah.
By the time you, I always talk about memes, because that's like literally, I'm chronically online, that's how I get all my popular culture references.
Scrolling.
Yeah, but it's like someone wrote a LinkedIn post, I think, that was like trying to be cool, saying, I spent all this time writing out this prompt for like a marketing brief, blah, 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 blah. And it's amazing. By the time I'd finished the prompt, I realised I could do it. And it was like, it's called doing the work and using your brain. Like, by the time you've gone through all that effort to put it in, what's the point? Because all it's just doing is churning back out some other all that time you spent doing that is just doing your workings out. So do your workings out and don't let your brain disintegrate.
Or use it to give you a springboard into it, or give you some points to start working on it.
Exactly.
Because I think we've discussed this in another podcast, that when you've got a blank page, starting on stuff is really difficult.
100%, and that's what it is good for. And when you've got lots of complex, especially in tech and fintech, you've got loads of complex. They send you loads of documents and all those big PowerPoint PDFs and that. And then it is good if you've got a good AI application that you use that is attuned to the way you work. It can organise all that for you. You can say, where can I find this information? It'll show you, because you're talking about hundreds of pages of documents. That's amazing. But like to just kind of relinquish, if you're really busy and this is going to help, great, use it. But to just willingly relinquish all that creativity, that skill set that you that's what you've spent your life wanting to do, into a machine to do it for you and not do it as well.
But that's another
really
thing,
sad.
Experience.
Yeah.
So you've spent all these years getting, not as many for you obviously, but not
still like
but you
going on 20.
You spent this time building experience. And I think, again, I mentioned in another podcast, how I design is everything in life is designed to me, and it goes into my head and it's stored for a later time. But AI might be able to search the internet, but is it really understanding that? It
can't do nuance for sure.
So part of what I suppose the humans bring in a certain way is that experience and that time that somebody has put into learning, going through their career, seeing how things have changed over the years. I mean, if there's a point where if I ever saw another drop shadow, I would have screamed, you know.
It's intuition of the world, the world around you. Your intuition is built by that, isn't it? And it's knowing how the land lies, it's knowing what language is going to be maybe inflammatory in a certain time that's in another, whereas AI, isn't that what iRobot's all about, the lack of nuance? Like everything is technically correct and informed and weighted, but that doesn't really translate in a human world. So why do we think that we can get rid of that in all of, you know, the written word and like our art, essentially? How is that going to make people buy your product? How is that? Yeah. Because like you say, you know immediately when you look at something that's, no matter how good people are, it's like the same posts over and over again on LinkedIn. I'm like, guys, if you'd have just taken 2 minutes to just write something else.
But even when sometimes you might give me something, I will then look at it and go, right, I'll make this a little bit more me. I'll add in a few words, or I'll just change.
Are you saying that I ghostwrite your blogs for you?
No, I don't mean blogs. Like,
I'm joking.
But when I'm posting a pistachio one,
and you
on
put
behalf
it on yours,
on mine.
But that's the point. I'm your AI there, where I'm like, look, this is the theme.
Yes.
You do what.
So sometimes I'll just add in something that's just my language, rather than, because we all do speak differently, and we do all have different meanings,
and references, popular culture references.
And you know, there isn't a one size fits all.
No, there's not, exactly.
Culture. One size fits all culture just doesn't exist. Anybody that's tried to buy a pair of jeans will know.
From the same shop in the same size.
Exactly.
But they're not the same size.
That's a whole other podcast discussing jean sizes. So how do you said previously that when ChatGPT started that you felt it more in the industry. Do you think people are coming back more now to...
I think it's definitely, it's waves. I do think a bubble burst, and that it seemed a flood, and that was across marketing, and I think Paul said at the same time, like it was sort of across all of our work, that there was a flood of people returning to having human eyes on stuff, because the same with anything, at first people go, this is brilliant, and then you look closer and it's like, I still need somebody to use this properly. Actually, just it's a lot more efficient for me to go to a professional.
Also it gets used for fun quite a lot more than anything. It's just like, oh, I can make it do this, dance monkey.
I think people, I don't know, do you know what, it's such a, that, I don't mean to use all the jargon, it is such an evolving landscape, that is AI. I am an AI bot, that is what they'd say. Yeah. But it is shifting all the time. To be honest, at the moment it feels like they've kind of pulled their when I say they, like the AI creators, powers that be, of like pulled their foot off the accelerator on the writing side, and they're just focusing on their efforts to implement regime change and dropping bombs everywhere. Like, again, it's to do wars for you. It does seem like there's a gap that I feel more comfortable in at the moment, where I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable that I'm doing a much better job than this is doing.
Yes.
So and I know that what its limits that I can use it for, and how I want to use my brain, and I feel good with that. That's not to say that will last forever, of course not. But it does feel that that I do feel there's been we've come around, and I know you were saying about people wanting that less of human. I guess it depends what arm of the business you're dealing with, doesn't it, and what type of business you're dealing with. There are some people that have just got this mindset of AI and technology over everything, because as little human paid interaction as possible. But if you look at news, that is bursting, like that bubble is bursting, loads of funding's being pulled out of that. People are realising that it can't do those things, and it's in the immediate perhaps not going to achieve those heights. I think people are also more aware of it, and at first nobody knew that things would necessarily do that much. Yeah. And I think that when it first came out, people were like, didn't know that AI had written it, whereas now people are a lot more clued up to the whole situation. They'll read something and they'll go, there's something not quite. Why? Yeah, exactly. Because
it's not something that's mega obvious, but it just doesn't seem.
It's like an extra word you don't need in there, or it's the word that wouldn't. They've overly explained something, because it feels like it has to overly explain, whereas actually, you already know what that is, and I can't get that nuance of like we're trying to is the creativity that it misses. It's accurate in a lot, it's obviously very scarily accurate with stuff, but obviously it doesn't check its references. So again, and this is where I think Gen Z will fall down, you have to be able to spot where you need to check the references and the stats.
Yes.
Because it's not credible for that. It can give you an idea of where to look, but and that's, when you're doing white papers and analytic stuff and writing like things that need to be referenced properly, you cannot rely on it for that.
Well, it's actually quite interesting. My sister is a lecturer, and she at a university, and she says that a lot of the students struggle when she says, right, turn to whatever page in your textbook, and they're like, where's that on my Kindle? Or what they're doing is using AI they're using AI to summarise the book, and they've never actually read the book.
There's people that are reading, but like younger generations, and all the books you're supposed to read and all this, they are just going for the ChatGPT summary of the book, so that they then got the key themes and ideas. And I'm like, that is not how that works. Yes, the book.
They're not getting the experience of reading the book.
Well, art is, films, books, everything that you consume that's creative is like it's reread and it's rewritten every time a new person reads it and looks at it. That's the point. It's subjective.
And that's why it's a different point of view. That's why sometimes the films are different to the book, because it's somebody else's perspective.
And because
on the
why
same
there's
thing.
different critiques that you don't agree with. One person loves something, one person doesn't, and that's humanity. That's being human. That's knowing yourself. You see something reflected in a book, in a film, in a painting that you're looking for. It holds a mirror up to you at that time. If ChatGPT is telling you Wuthering Heights is this because of blah, 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 and you're like, okay, that sounds about right, and then you go out into the world, what do you get? Everyone is just a robot, like a vapid robot. Yeah, and the problem is that they're not actually learning anything because they're not getting the experience. So what they're doing is they're reading the summary rather than the whole book. And so then when they get asked questions about the book, they're like, because I've written a paper on it, but I have no idea what it is. Yeah. It's because it's a feeling. It's like it's what it's supposed to make you feel, not what this character said to this character.
Yes.
And blah, 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 blah.
So, it is a huge problem at the moment.
I do feel like you said was it your sister that's a lecturer? With teaching with students, with the younger generation, I feel like that's a huge issue.
Yes.
I do feel a little bit like millennials, Gen Xers, we have a bit of an advantage in this space at the moment because you can straddle two worlds. And we're the ones that are adding value to this. And again, everything falls on us.
But I do think it's interesting how, obviously, people interacting with people also, I think, has changed. So, when I hire people, I don't necessarily look to see if they've got a degree or not. It's not necessarily about that. But in some businesses, it's really important. And, especially in this day and age where everything is just so difficult for anybody, graduates, for leaving school, for everything. But I think there's something being lost a little bit with, I suppose it's like growing up not necessarily knowing how to write with a pen because all you've ever done is type. And to be fair, I haven't really written much in years, and actually I don't think my hand always hurts when I start trying to write with a pen.
You still create, like you're doing pictures. There's different, it's you still using your hands. Yeah. But I think in our industry, it's becoming more and more obvious when people use it. Yeah, and I think that's a good thing.
Yes.
I think, I feel like just got to ride the wave. I've heard as well some people are using ChatGPT to like when they're texting people, like dating and stuff. So they don't even they're now not even engaging in like nurturing romantic relationships. They're just like, oh, what should I respond to this? And then just firing off a paragraph because it's what they want to hear. And I'm like, that is Oh my gosh.
I have actually.
Do you not want to feel anything?
I have actually had a friend that has said that to me before. They didn't know how to respond, so they Googled it. But also, I did read a book that had in the book. It was actually about an AI scientist who, but he'd had a relationship that had ended because she figured out that he was using AI to write his text. But he was generating it. He wasn't even typing it himself. He was just getting it. So if,
like a bot.
It would go into a mode. So if he, kind of sent text where he needed to be supportive, it would go into supportive mode and it would answer in the right way. Until one day she sent a text and he was in the room and it responded. And he obviously hadn't picked his phone up, so obviously he got in trouble. But
there you go.
Yeah, that is just...
So we don't even want to have human... what you're saying it, or what these people are saying it, I don't think they understand that.
Yes.
They're just being lazy.
Yes.
It's what that takes from you is
I think
real
some people
human
struggle
connection.
with the real world and with relationships, and so that's what it's kind of helped people that wouldn't know what to say in a certain situation.
Absolutely. If you can code...
But I think
an AI agent to reply to your girlfriend for you without you even having to look at your phone, you're capable of communicating.
Yeah, exactly.
What you want. You are.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it didn't work in the end. It's a story. He found somebody else, but it was just really funny because it just made me think of that, of the fact that in this day and age, sooner or later you will have probably AI that will just respond. I suppose it's like the chat boxes, isn't it?
It's like exactly that.
We used to work with a partner who that's what they did, was actually the AI that their goal is to make it as human as possible, so that you don't actually know that you're talking to AI, that you think you're talking to a human. But I always know, and I think the fact that I've started screaming down the phone, for goodness sake, will you just let me speak to a human? And then all of a sudden it goes, we are putting you through to a... So there's obviously a tag word there that either...
we pushed it too far. She's pulled back the curtain. She knows.
But we could, again, we do like a chat, don't we?
I think we've done quite well there. I feel like we've covered
so many, not just copywriting, but...
I think that was the crux, what we wanted to cover, wasn't it? It's I mean, we can't speak. I'd be too nervous to speak to any kind of future, but all we can speak on is the last few years. It's definitely, there was a bubble that's either maybe not necessarily burst, but it's definitely shrunk.
Yes,
it's definitely given us time, me particularly, and people at my level that are also in the same industry, do the same work, the time to maneuver and find a way to navigate it and to pivot.
We're using all the terms.
And make sure that you're keeping up, because you've got to keep up pace, but also you're still delivering the quality human value. Absolutely. And finding a way to do that. Yeah. And that's that's at the moment, still here, still surviving.
Still here.
I'm still standing.
Oh, we're getting singing as well.
Yeah, and my final note is just that it is very. People always ask me that question, obviously, because it seems like the most direct one linked to AI. And I just say, well, the last 2 years, it's just I've been writing back-to-back sales copy, selling in Gen AI, which is supposed to be doing my job for me. So that's all I can. That's all I can tell you. That's where I'm at. So,
well, it's lovely speaking to you today,
you
Charlotte.
too, Marie.
And
next time we'll talk about my book.
Yeah, we will. Okay. We should put a deadline on that.
Yeah, we should though. Maybe.
Maybe, though, we could make it a cocktail version of the podcast.
Drinks.
Yeah.
Just trash talking. All my some shitty excerpts. But I look forward to it.
Okay, lovely. So, please check all our socials. We constantly share blogs. We've got competitions. We've got all sorts going on. So, check on our socials, make sure you check out our YouTube page, work we've done, but also all our podcasts are on there. Yay! Like, subscribe, follow, and also check out our website, which has also got, if you just want the audio version, or Spotify where you can listen to us as well. Lovely speaking to you, Charlotte.
You too.
Speak to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.